Welcome to Beyond Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Petrellis, and we are at episode 180, actually 188 or 189. I gotta double check. I forget what I said last episode. I should have double checked before I hit record, but we're up there. We're getting close to 200, and we're really trying to make our last, like we said, our last 15 guests, people that are really like doing things and making noise in their area. And this was kind of a pop on, she reached out to me yesterday, wrote an unbelievable article about boxing coming back to Fenway Park. I read it. I was really impressed. Reached out, had a spot open tonight. She took it. Here we are. So I think someone who's really hustling local boxing. I've seen at Sonny's Boxing Gym at their event recently, getting some great coverage, way better coverage than me. Getting some phenomenal coverage, and the more I kind of am learning about her and what she's doing, the more impressed I am because she's also a one-woman show, and she hustles and she works really hard, and we get that here at Beyond Podcast. So I want to make sure I always say I'm gonna say names right. Boston Boxing News. If you guys haven't checked them out on Instagram, you got to give them a follow. But without further ado, the person that I am hyping up here so much, and I know is going to live up to the hype today, Marta Wang. Welcome to Beyond Podcast.
Great. Thank you, Anthony, for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Yeah, and I meant what I said. I think you're doing great work here. I've been following your stuff for a while since really I've been kind of working at Sonny's and doing some videography for them. I followed more of the Boston scene a little bit in boxing just to kind of familiarize myself with other local gyms and local fighters, and as I'm trying to educate myself in boxing. But your story's pretty interesting. I was talking to you a little bit off air about how you kind of got into boxing. So share with the audience a little bit because your story, I think, is so interesting, and just watching your growth and hearing how you started even makes it more impressive in my mind.
All right, cool. Thanks, Anthony. So how I started boxing. So about year and a half ago, I just went to the boxing gym because it was near my house, and then I just really loved it. I took like all the mitts classes that they offered during the week, a lot of bags classes, and it's the only time in my life where I've been motivated to exercise and really found something that I like and can commit to. And kind of the reason for that is because so I'm Chinese American, and my grandparents actually survived the Cultural Revolution. So when they were young, they were pulled out of school and forced into labor camps. So because they were denied the education, they're smart people who got denied this education. They basically they curated my life around studying, and the only important thing is studying, getting good grades, getting a good job, and doing like all the things that they weren't allowed to do. So it was just like deeply ingrained that like studying is really important, and anything else is like big disappointment, big waste of time. But I just really loved boxing, and then I got the opportunity to talk to some professional boxers and watch them spar at the gym and got to know them a little bit better. So I found out that they really rely on sponsorships because they're not paid until after the fight, so they're like working part-time jobs, but it's kind of difficult to like work and train, so sponsorships are really important. So started this site to so I started this site to maybe get them noticed, get people to know the boxers' personal stories and connect with them, and like potentially sponsor them and drive up some ticket sales, some direct ticket sales, because fighters also get paid for a percentage of the
What
direct
they
ticket
sell.
sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like we just had on. I think when I kind of creeped your Instagram a little bit before we talked, you had Jared Gigangis on, right? Jared Gigangis, former student of
Big
mine.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had him on the podcast actually like maybe a month and a half ago, and I saw him pop up on your page, and I was like that because I know he just won his fight, won the title, and we're actually looking to do a kind of a follow-up podcast with all that. But you mentioned it. What I think is so amazing about what you just said is the effort that you're putting into it. Like you're recognizing that, yeah, they get a certain amount of ticket sales. So buying tickets through a boxer as opposed to buying them at the gate or buying them on like a
Mhm.
website is just, that's a better way to support the boxer, especially if you're going there to kind of root that person on. But also, like you mentioned, the sponsorships and advertisement and all that stuff that also kind of goes into boxers making money because, yeah, like to be the best and to peak there, like you kind of need to be training as much as you possibly can and losing time to having to work. Like I get the balance act, but in what you're trying to become, that's like losing precious time of develop your fighting. But the website, so talk about that website a little bit more. So you created a website that allows like people to kind of see what they're looking for, types of sponsorships. Like, just I want to hear that again because that sounded really cool.
Oh, so like my website, I don't think it's live yet. I just published it on Friday, but it
Okay.
will be bostonboxingnews.com. But so far there's fight news, resources for women, merch. So I sell my own t-shirts, hoodies, and hats, which um, kind of fund this. It funds journalism. It funds advancement for women's boxing and youth programs. And I also do like wholesale merch for gyms. I've done hoodies for the town, hats for the town, um, shirts for Leash Pike and Mission Ready. It's a fundraiser race. Um, but that's
Girl,
oh,
you're
but
doing it. You're doing it. Like, you're like for real. You are doing it. Like, I hope you hear yourself saying that because I have such a hard time sometimes when people like, did you hear what you just did this month? You did this and this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. But it's hard to see it when you're doing it. But when you're hearing somebody else doing that, like, God, like what you're developing, you just started in fall of 24, so you're not even like a year old in what you're doing, and you are like already on the gas pedal and have a website and working with great boxing, company, which we'll talk about. Your videography coverage has been really great. And yeah, you're everything you're saying, like you're doing it, like you are doing it and that's what I think stands out so much about you to me was like for a while. I mean, I have one other person who I do with now who helps me out mightily, but I did do it for a long time alone, and it's not easy all that stuff you're doing. I hope that as you're saying this and hearing yourself, you've done a lot in less than a year, a lot more than I did my first year with this, just to put it in perspective of your incline here and how well you're doing. So I hope you know that, right? You know that about yourself?
no, I really appreciate you saying this, but I think like it's because it's like a one woman show, it's like challenging. I'm frustrated, so it's like hard to for myself for, to know. It's hard for myself to know how I'm doing, but it's really nice when other people say that they like my work and they like what I'm doing for the fighters.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I met you at Sonny's, I gave you a big hug, like I knew you for like 100 years, because I do follow your stuff and I do see like the passion behind it, and I like God, I stick up by people and like, I mean, I wear in this retired athletes club hat that you see here. That's a guest that I had on here who I think what she's trying to build as a brand is so smart and intelligent
Mhm.
that like I wear her swag. This sweatshirt too I'm wearing. And that's not on purpose. It's because it's comfortable and I like the way I look in it, right? So I wear it. But like I I believe in that, and I just like listening to you and talking to you. I mean, one really cool thing that I didn't totally know, I kind of knew, but didn't know how big it was you had a kind of a clip go viral. So not only are you building websites, and not only are you developing a swag store and all that stuff, and writing and but you're also doing the videography stuff, which we do. So let's chat about that a little bit. You had a clip go viral. Talk about this clip, where to go, how did it blow up, and what does it have it's maybe done for you a little bit.
Sure. So my clip of Harold Roy knocking out Chad Leoncello at Nolan Brothers sold out Super Saturday event went viral. So I think I posted it like after the fight. I was like feeling kind of excited. So I just like put out a bunch of videos, and then in the morning I woke up to like 400 likes, like a lot of shares and like thousands of views, and then it got reposted by Top Boxing News, where it got even more traction, and it won Harold Roy uh, Top Boxing News Knockout of the Year award. And then my viral clip got the Nolan brothers and Harold Roy noticed, which is like leading to like bigger, better things, people noticing them. And then actually, millions.co, the pay-per-view, the streaming service that we used, reached out to me, and I became a millions.co creator and interviewer.
Dude, holy cow. So one viral clip and now what's the time span of that? Like when you posted that clip to maybe the last thing that happened to you from this clip, what's that time span?
Uh, uh, 2, 3 weeks.
Damn, so
It's been
quick. Okay,
crazy.
I was curious. I mean, to me, that's quick. Like, boom, 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 boom. Like, I mean, that might now something like that happening. How does that make you feel? Because you know at this point how hard you're working behind the scenes and everything that you're doing. So you started in fall 24. When was that clip?
February 8th.
Damn. So you're talking, God, maybe 4 to 6 months, a half a year into it. I mean, how did that make you feel when all this stuff was like, what was going through your mind a little bit?
Oh my God, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe that like I captured something that went viral and like got Harold, Roy, the Nolan brothers, and me all noticed.
That's
So it's
great. I
unbelievable.
mean, so what's it up to like virally, like YouTube, Instagram is like, do you know a number or a rough number of where it's at?
Um, oh, let's
I
see
just
the
threw it
last.
on the spot here. If you don't know, that's totally
Yeah,
okay.
I think it got like I think so between like my post and then the one that Top Boxing News shared. The last time I look, it was like 800 likes,
That's a lot.
and like maybe 25,000 views.
Yeah, damn. Okay. So that boogie, that did a good job. Wow. Now, who are the fighters? Who knocked out who?
So Harold Roy,
Yeah,
so he's the heavyweight Nolan Brothers fighter, also known as the Haitian King, knocked out Chad Leoncello. So he's a big scary dude, and he's like just like when you see him, he's just like got this presence. So I was like actually a little bit scared about this one, but oh my gosh, it was.
yeah.
And we were there, like by the ringside. There's blood on the table by the ring. And when he fell, it was just like a big. It was brutal.
Right place, right time for you too, I
Hmm.
bet, right? Just being kind of in the right spot for it.
Yeah.
God, that's incredible. That's
Hmm.
awesome. And for you, obviously, that confidence level kind of boosts you. And we were talking a little bit before we hit record. It's tough, right? When you're trying to build a brand or try to build
Hmm.
something to make some sort of traction or some sort of noise in the area that you wanted to. It's a lot of work behind the scenes. It's a lot of things of just showing up and doing for
Hmm.
free. And I know what that life's like, and all the stuff that you do, it's amazing and it's working. But then you kind of also sort of feel it from the other end of like, this is my only gig. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all this other stuff that gets in the way of everything. that makes it really hard. And it's not easy. Talk about the grind with this a little bit because building websites not easy. I'm like still working on doing it. So I know that that's not really easy. But doing traveling to different shows, writing articles, like the awesome one you sent that you just wrote recently, like that's a lot of work. I mean, talk about the grind aspect behind this business too, because it's real.
Yeah, so I think like people mostly like see me at the gym and they think it's fun, like talking to fighters and like just taking videos, but there's a lot of work going behind this. So you kind of so it's like, what do I do? Um so like with say fighter interviews, I like to like research them beforehand, like get to know them so that when we're doing the interviews, it's like we know each other, we're comfortable. So it's just as if we were like friends talking at the gym and do their research, find out their stories. So sometimes the stories is like self-explanatory, but other times it takes like a little bit of pushing, a little bit of coaching for the story and for like their personality to come out and shine. And then like there's the writing. So I do write kind of like do research and kind of write long captions for the videos. Um, and then I try to like research like how to do social media marketing. So this is very different
Which
from
is a
like the
whole
previous
nother
job.
job, a
Yeah.
whole nother job. Like, yeah. And
Yeah,
it's not and it's
it's a
not
lot.
easy. It's not
Hmm.
easy, and I look at what you're doing and what you kind of just said there, and I think a lot of it is that's a lot of work I'm sure you put into those interviews or getting to know those boxers of who they are outside the ring a little bit. So when you are building these pieces or writing these pieces, you do have like kind of like somewhat of a whole picture or as close to a whole picture as you can get. And that shows in your work. Like if I'm being totally honest, that shows. Like that shows that you are just even when you told me the two fighters that of the clip, like how you introduced them and how you said who they were, like you clearly educate yourself and you know your stuff pretty well in this industry. I mean, for you, are you just constantly like following the local scene, constantly knowing like the gyms to go to? Like, I seen you at Sonny's. I know you do stuff with Nolan Brothers. I mean, are you constantly hustling around to kind of see what's going on, what the scene looks like, locally for boxing?
Yeah, so I kind of make my rounds at the gyms. So kind of make my rounds between like Nolan, No Nantum, the town, Sonny's, um, Everybody Fights, Grealish, Peter Welch's, and then I go to women's sparring at On the Ropes in Rhode Island, and then Sh Shalito's Way in Providence, and then I've been trying to make it over to In Your Corner, which is another woman-owned gym in Wolcott, Connecticut. That one's difficult, and I've also been and then I need to go to Riptide Boxing as well. But it's like going to these gyms, getting to know the fighters, getting some fight news, interviews. Um, I'll also take sparring videos for them. That's just for them, educational purposes, and they're really happy about that because no one's like taking videos of them where they can like see themselves and like watch them and learn.
I mean,
But
your
I'll put
footage
together.
does that. Your footage is definitely that.
Thank you. Yeah. And then I try to once in a while make like something nice to put on the gram.
Yeah. You gotta always put something on the gram, right?
Yeah.
Um, no, and that's what I noticed too is like when I do a lot of coverage at Sunny's, the one thing, especially the young kids, like the teenage kids, when I used to go a lot on Thursdays, they would always be like, "Can you send me that footage after of my sparring, or can you send me that footage of this, foot drill or this box or whatever like drill?" I'm like, yeah, sure. And like these kids, like, it's great to kind of see what I'm doing wrong and actually get to see it. And never really thinking. I mean, I coach, like, film was such a big thing, but I'm like, God, in
Hmm.
boxing, yeah, of course, a big thing. Like, these kids want to see what their coaches are talking about, or watch their footwork, or watch what happens when they get stuck in the corner. Like, so it's like in a way, we're giving them also like free, like, you know relay coverage for them to go back and study their own films, which I think is a really cool part of the coverage that I'm catching at Sonny's. Now I'm gonna plug them a little bit. I don't know how familiar you are with there, but I do a lot of work with them. I think Danny is top-notch guy,
Yes.
top-notch trainer, loves his fighters, and his fighters would go through flames of hell for him if they asked him to. And that's like why I love going there so much. And you mentioned specifically like the women's circuit, like Beth Goodchild. I mean,
Hmm.
she would beat me up, honestly. Like, if she asked me to spar, I'd be like, no. Um, but like she's a tough fighter. I mean, the men he has there are tough. Like, in the even the young kids he has there, they're tough.
Hmm.
But his women are tough. Like, Frankie
Right.
Vitale, she's another one who I don't know if she's actually officially fought before, but God, she should. She knock people out if she really wanted to pursue it. But how familiar are you with Danny and Sonny's?
Oh, so I met them probably around Christmas, and I
Mm.
love them.
Yeah. It's a fun place. Like, their social
Hmm.
media is fun too. Like, they're doing like a lot of humor stuff now, and I think it's great. I think it really kind of shows that place off and what it
Hmm.
is. So to me, I had to give them a plug for a minute just because but I mentioned those two fighters, women. I know you're
Hmm.
familiar with Beth. Like, yeah, and there's great fighters, young kids that are coming out of there fighting.
Right.
The women's division, they got some tough women that fight out of there. And, Danny's a great coach. Like, he fires me up and juices me up sometimes, just being on the
Yeah.
camera and covering that. So,
It's like,
and I
yeah.
know he's high on the Nolans, and I know you kind of
Hmm.
work with the Nolans a lot. And those guys are both teachers, which is really cool. I'm a teacher as well. I think they're middle school, if I remember, like sixth and seventh grade, they said. And I'm
Yeah,
elementary,
science
fifth grade.
teachers.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, I forgot what subject it was, um but those seem like really great guys. And when I look at the boxing around here, I mean, I know Sonny's is having another
Hmm.
event soon. The Nolans just brought boxing back to Fenway. I mean, talk about working with those guys a little bit and how it's kind of really helped you, inspire you too in what you do.
Yeah. Okay. So, when I first started Boston Boxing News, I kind of had the name for a while, had like 200 followers, like just people that I knew from the gym, but the Nolan brothers, so it grew because of the Nolan brothers. So they invited me to cover the Masters tournament last fall, when I had like no followers, and so I went there, and people were like really happy with the footage because there's rarely any like footage at amateur events, and then so it's just been like growing since then, and then it led to working at the pro fight, which was um, November, which was the November. So I got some good footage of the pros. Got some, it got some good views, but it was really like the Super Saturday in February where like everything took off, and the Nolans have been just really good to work with, like just truly, truly nice people. They take care of their fighters, like even the B-side opponents, like they're paying for like car services and like putting up in like nice hotels and like compensating them fairly. But just like really good people who are like putting their guys in like good shows, and just like really um really doing good things for their careers and for like the gym members and like the whole Boston boxing community. Like this Fenway event is going to be huge, and
I
like
mean,
you wouldn't think anyone could pull it off, but only the Nolans could pull it off.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, when I saw that on TV, and I was like, God, and through their social media it would pop up on the feed. And I remember I just DM'd them one day, and I was like, I just gotta ask them, like, how'd you guys pull that off? And they're like, it wasn't as difficult as you think, and I was kind of like blown away.
Hmm.
But yeah, I saw like the whole setup of what it would look like, and that's cool. And like I said, working at Sonny's, Danny loves those guys. He's since day
Hmm.
one I've been there. All he talks about is how great the Nolan brothers are. And God, I remember hearing that name. It was like one of the first names I heard covering boxing, and to see them doing well is really cool. I think that is that's again like the hard work, the grind that you and I kind of know about. Those guys are doing the same exact thing. And
Oh
it's good
yeah,
to see
absolutely.
people start from the beginning and make their way up. It's fun to watch, and it inspires you. It's like it can be done, it can happen.
Yeah.
Um, so talk about a little bit of, obviously I know you get like, Fenway coming up and so on, but anything kind of the second half of the year here, anything that you have planned or anything that you're working on or something that you want to plug a little bit that's kind of brewing for you?
Let's see, so quite a few events. So there's like the Sunnies tournament. I think the date is June 28th. That's something I'm really excited about. Like he puts on a good show. If it's going to be anything like the last tournament, like there's kids there who
Mm.
are really good as adults.
Yeah.
Um,
Is
let's
that the
see.
Great American Beer Hall? Is that the one? Is that event?
I thought it was going to be at their gym, but don't quote me on that.
I could be wrong. I might just be crossing millions of things that I'm doing, so don't even listen to me, actually.
Yeah. And then on August 2nd and 3rd, there's Shelley Vincent's all-female tournament. I'm really excited for that.
That's
I'm
cool.
actually sponsoring that event and making the merch for her fighters and making um, t-shirts and hats for her to sell and fundraise for this event. Putting on these events costs a lot of money, so happy to help her raise money for this by making her shirts. I wish had I wish I had one, but haven't started doing that yet. But um, I'm really excited. So she like was one of the earlier female boxers, and she really put women's boxing on the map. And I think she's just so accomplished. She's overcome like so many like personal hardships, and like at a time where people aren't into women's boxing, it was hard to find a coach or like a promoter who would put her on, it's but she became a professional boxer at like 30 or 31, and she's um she's a world champ, great record of selling out Madison Square Garden. And she's actually a two-time Hall of Famer, someone I look up to. I think she's amazing. And this tournament is something that she's doing for women who, because like it's a lot better for women now, but it's still hard for us to have tournaments and have matchups because there's so few women in boxing and even fewer at like compatible skill levels and weights. But this tournament's really big. Like women from all over the country are in it. I think there's like Chicago, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania I've seen so far, and it's a really great thing for women. Shalito's Way all annual all female tournament.
I mean, and your name's on it because you're sponsoring it, right? Or you're
Oh yeah.
sponsoring it, right? So that's like, God. So when's that? August, you said?
Yeah, August 2nd and 3rd. It's a 2-day event.
I mean, that for all intents and purposes is right around your 1 year mark. So think about day one of when you started this and what you were doing, and then use that event as like the
Mhm.
closeout to year one. If you don't, here's advice I want to give you because I still struggle doing this because I say it to myself 100 times and I forget to do it. If you don't do it already, is videotape yourself a little bit doing some stuff, or just go like this with the camera and videotape where you're at a little bit. Because what's cool is the end of the year, I love going back to clips and like showing all the different things that we were doing or where we were or what we caught or a guest that we had on. And I think it's really cool when you look back at the beginning of a year and you have goals, and then you go to the end of the year and you surpass those goals or achieve those goals, or and you're like, wow, this is where I went year one from here to here, year two here to here. So if you don't do that, you should start doing that. Do you
Oh
do
no,
it?
um not really. It's like I don't like to see myself on camera actually.
But even if it's just for you, because this is gonna blow up, right? And I think at some point people are gonna want to see the person, right? Like I was like that with Beyond for a while. Besides putting clips out like this from the podcast, everything else was just what I was catching. But then I realized to a point, once our followers started growing, the feedback that I got was people like, we want to see you a little bit more. We want to hear you a little bit more. And I was kind of like, damn, I wasn't expecting that. So I'm telling you, as somebody who looks at your stuff and sees what you do and knows the work that goes into it, let people see you a little bit more. Maybe that's a year two goal. Maybe that's get through this year, but year two goal is let people see who you are a little bit more, because then when you show up to places and you start getting bigger, people see you and they go, oh my goodness, I know who that is. That's Boston Boxing News. Like just advice. I love the world of people who hustle and work hard, and any advice I can give of my path or journey, I always try to remember like, oh yeah, I gotta tell someone this. So yeah.
All right, thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, yeah. So all those projects coming up, big video went viral. What is like What's an end game for you? Like, where do you see this going, or where would you maybe want to see this going? I think those directions always change. Like, I saw this so many different things, and then you kind of go down a different road a little bit. But where you're at right now, like, where do you see what would you would be like, okay, I wanted to get to this point.
That's a good question. That's
And
something
maybe
I
you
think
haven't
about
thought
every
it.
day.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something I think about every day, but I think about like, oh, getting like better equipment, having like professional professional level videos, going around meeting more fighters, going to bigger fights.
So yeah, you just want it all. I love it. I love it. Um, I will say, like, I built this business on using an iPhone and one camera, and probably didn't start using that one camera until like a year and a half into what we were doing. I think the iPhone, like when I do stuff at Danny's gym, I
Mhm.
bring my camera and edit it, and yeah, your camera's obviously a little bit more crisp and a little bit better. But the iPhone sometimes is just so much easier when
Oh
I'm
yeah.
when I'm recording things at the gym, because the way you can angle it between the rope and focus in and zoom in, and like
Mhm.
it gets more than the camera does a little bit too. Like it's wider in that sense. So like sometimes I struggle because the quality's one thing, but like you're watching your stuff when you are like up close in the action, like yeah, maybe the pixelation when you post on Instagram goes down a little bit. But God, I mean, it's like you have a seat like literally next to, the boxer's team. I mean, that's how close you are. I mean, but that's a good goal. Obviously, you want to get more of that stuff, but keep doing what you're doing because people love the up close. That's the stuff no one else gets. Like whether it's with the camera or just with your phone, like boxers want that. Boxers must love that. They must. Do you get DM'd a lot being like, "Can you send me that?"
Yep, that's like the entirety of my that's the entirety of my inbox.
I mean, I think about that just like with the high school kids. Like, we constantly get
Mhm.
messaged like, "Hey, do you have this hit that I got?" I'm like, "No, dude, I actually don't." Like, because sometimes you just miss things, you know. This catch that I had in the outfield, I'm like, I mean, this is the best I could get it, you know. So I'm sure, you know, that you probably get that a lot, but that must be complimentary because you must feel like, man, people like my stuff. People appreciate my stuff, and it's probably gotten you followers, and it's probably gotten you people paying attention to your page
Mhm.
more.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because at the Sunnies tournament, Chanel Rodriguez was like, "Where were you during my amateur fights?"
Yeah. And that feels great, right? Because there you are going out your time, beautiful day, right? It was a beautiful day, I
Hmm.
think, that day. Might have been raining a little bit, but um, you know, you go out and you do that stuff, and then they have someone just kind of say to you, man, where the hell were you? And you know, like that feels great because it's showing that your work's appreciated and people appreciate that. I think that that is, yeah, that's kind of a cool like compliment to get when you're doing that stuff. Um, yeah, my biggest piece of advice is, you know, don't try to hit a home run all the time. You know, like keep taking singles, hit doubles,
Hmm.
you know, play the numbers game and just like stick to your gut. Like, because I'm sure you already somewhat get it with people. Oh, you should do this, or you should try that, or you know what I think. And everyone means well. And
Hmm.
I've taken a lot of people's advice on things, don't get me wrong. But I think when it comes to like direction and when it comes to creativity and when it comes to like even the content you put out, like that's all you. Like, don't let anybody like. It's good to listen to people and it's good to try new things, but like I with this business have just listened to myself. Like even when I know I'm in like the minority when it comes to like
Hmm.
asking 10 people and it's like 8 to 2, you know, and I'm just like, but what if I'm right? Like, you know, or what if this does work? And sometimes it has, you know, and so when those moments happen, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm never not listening to myself because this is what I'm building. This is my hard work. This is what I want. Like somebody from the outside who's paying attention and maybe just looking at it and not seeing everything else, like, and sometimes I want to go for the home runs too, don't get me wrong, but singles and doubles, keep hitting singles and doubles and you will grow.
Yeah, yeah, consistency is key. It almost
Yeah.
doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, it's like any aspect of life for you. Have you
Hmm.
just been such a hard worker your whole life? Are you like, this is who you are type person? This is how you kind of like programmed?
Yeah, it is. So like ever since I was a kid, it was like you have to be the top of the class. And then my parents got like math books from China, so I was doing like super hard math problems like late into the night.
Yeah.
And then like I was actually an engineer before this.
Wow. Okay. Oh, tell us a little bit more about that. You were an engineer before this? What type of engineer were you?
Electrical.
Wow. So what were you working? What were you doing?
Oh, like all kinds of shit like designing chips, like the integrated circuit like computer chips,
Okay.
um like radiation testing for electronics that would go into space, um like writing like encryption algorithms.
So you
um
smart, you are smart as hell. Holy moly. Okay. So I didn't realize this was a background of yours. So this is God. So now you are like you don't do any of that anymore.
Still tinker here and there, but
Yeah.
this basically takes up all of my time.
Wow, good for you. You're all in. You're all in on this. I love that. You're smart. You know what you're doing. You know, you definitely know what you're doing. Um, that will lead me to kind of like our last thought. I think this is a good segue into it. I ask a lot of coaches and athletes this. I'll ask you the same thing. Well, I actually got one more question after this, but um, what's your advice to young people out there that like here you are just telling your story of what you were doing before, and now here you are pursuing a passion and pursuing something that you truly enjoy and you're all in on it. What's your advice to people out there that maybe are afraid to go all in on something or afraid to really pursue a passion of theirs and make it their full-time thing? What would you say to people now that you're living it, doing it, and it's your everyday life?
I would say like have more confidence in yourself and like listen to yourself and like sometimes you have to tune out other people because it's like you have your own best interest in mind. They don't necessarily have your best interest in mind. So I think if you want to do something, if you're interested in something, like you should find the ways of pursuing it, even if other people say it's like it's not cool, it's stupid, you're not gonna get anything out of it, but like you should really like be kind of like introspective and like listen to yourself and have confidence in yourself and not like a lot of times I've had like doubts and I didn't like do things and then it ended up like being a great thing, which I was not part of,
Yeah, I
but like
mean, it
yeah.
kind of goes back to what we said a little bit.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, no one knows better than you. Like,
Mhm.
it comes with critics. Like, this came with so many critics. Like, when I started this, to how many people didn't think this was anything that was
Mhm.
needed, to athletic directors who said that to me,
Mhm.
to who wrote that to me, to friends who kind of like, you're doing what? And I'm just
Mhm.
like, I'm telling you, I've coached a really long time. I know there's a need for this out there. This is like,
Mhm.
this helps high schools out depending on how they want to use this as a tool. And here we are doing very well, at a
Mhm.
point that we're choosing what we want to do a little bit versus before we were taking anything we could possibly get, and now we kind of look at it from a business perspective of like, why don't we spend more time in some spots where we can highlight more of a season versus doing just little individual games that don't really get to know the behind the scenes stuff of coaches and teams and
Mhm.
whatever. So that's you kind of you change yourself that way. But yeah, the you're gonna have your naysayers and you're gonna have those people that doubt, and sometimes they get to you, they get to me, it gets to my head. I've
Mhm.
had plenty of things that people say or question or but you better than anybody, and you
Mhm.
know how hard you're willing to work, and you know what you're willing to do. And when you know you and you know that you're going to do it, then great things are going to happen. So keep rolling. My advice to you, like your advice, just keep going, keep going, keep going. It's going to be hard. Keep going. It's going to be rough. Keep going. And then eventually you start seeing the benefits of working so hard and seeing how it starts to pay off. I promise you, you will. My last question to you is obviously you're involved in a lot of boxing and music is a huge part of this podcast. I mean, when I put reels out, I'm very specific about songs, and sometimes it takes me 10 or 15 minutes to figure out the song to put. Is there any entrances or any like theme song entrances that if you were a boxer coming out fighting, you would want to either resemble someone's entrance that you've seen or have a song on that somebody comes out to that would be like your song? Or is there a whole different song or a whole different thing you want to throw out there?
Oh, so I think Debauchery has some good walkout songs. Let's see, Blood for the Blood God, maybe.
Okay. So are you like more like a heavy metal type? Would that be your entrance more, or would you be like a hip hop person? What would be kind of your entrance?
Metal for sure.
Metal. Okay,
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. I ask that a lot because I never get the same answer. Like you be so surprised, like the answers kids give or adults give, and it's never the same. I've never heard someone say the same song or even like just like not even close. So it's I always like ask that question because I think music is a big motivator in all sports, and
Mhm.
I think on social media. You probably see it too sometimes with videos or people that you follow that pop up on your feed music catches you, you're paying attention to something a little bit
Hmm.
longer, you're watching that video an extra 5, 10 seconds. So music is key. So I always like to throw the music questions out there. Well, listen, I mean it. I think what you're doing is great. You are covering in local boxing in this area, and you're doing a very good job of it. I think your videography, your ringside, and basically feeling like you're the ref during the match. I mean, that's how close you are, and that's how close your shots are. I think you've done a really good job in promoting people locally in boxing, and are starting to become a media outlet for people to reach out to get onto, and you're gonna start seeing that growth soon, and that's gonna be really cool. And but I mean it. From what I read yesterday and what you sent me, I feel like you're a hard worker, and wherever you see this going or wherever you want this to go, it will get there. I know it will. But I'm glad we got to kind of get you on here today and tell your story. We have to get you back on here after Fenway. Hear all about it, you know?
Oh yeah, thank you. I would love to
Yeah.
come back. This was so fun.
Yeah, yeah. So honestly, and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are very appreciative of you and what you're doing and what you're starting just to start really doing before it blows up more. So keep going, no matter how hard it is. I promise you, it's gonna feel good. It will feel good. So, thank you for coming on here today. And I forget, if like I said, if it's 188, 189, I'm gonna have to double check. But we are getting close to episode 200. And I will say this to our audience out there. We are gonna be having a live 200th episode. So we're, an audience. I think we're gonna have about 50 people. I think that's the max we can fit in there. We'll try to squeeze a few extra, but we're really excited about that. We set a goal of July 2023 was 100 episodes, and we said on that episode that we would be back in the studio for episode 200 in July of 2025. We're in June. We're close to 190. I mean, we are. I am crawling to the finish line here, but we are getting there. And we're excited to kind of do what we said we wanted to get done, and we're proud of that. So, more news to come on that later on, so check that out. But again, thank you to our guest, Marta Wang. Unbelievable stuff. Pay attention. And again, where can people find you before we sign off here? Where can people find you on social media to follow your stuff?
So my biggest present is Instagram, and that's Boston Boxing News. One word, no dots, no nothing. Facebook, Boston Boxing News. YouTube, Boston Boxing News. And my website should be live soon, www.bostonboxingnews.com. So that's going to be like resources for like fight news, resources for women, merch sales, custom merch, um, just a lot of stuff. And I want to have a mailing list coming out. That's going to be a next goal for the website as well. So you'll have like emails with fight news, and a fight calendar as well.
Yeah, well, anything you can share with us once that gets rocking and rolling, share it with us, and we'll make sure we put it on our story, and we'll kind of make sure I consistently put it on there, so it just keeps getting thrown out there more and more. But excellent job, keep up the hard work, and guys, check her out. She is a one-woman wrecking crew, and she is on her way up the incline. We can't wait to kind of see it and watch it. So, I'm your host, Anthony Petrellis. Till next time.